and welcome, I'm Liam the music reviewer. It's raining like fuck outside. There's somebody installing like a Sky satellite dish, so it's loud as fuck right now, so apologies about that. And today we're going to be reviewing the latest record by Joyce Manor, $1 Million to Kill Me, taken from some stories to do with Travis Barker after his crash, which makes it sound depressing as fuck. But moving on from that, Joyce Manor, if you don't know who they are, have been a bit of a favourite of mine for quite some time. When it came to their debut record, which I'm pretty sure was independently released, I thought I did pretty well with that, but it wasn't until, for a lot of people, including myself, it wasn't until Never Hungover Again where I was like, whoa, I'm really going to keep these guys on my radar, because I was pretty impressed by it. They were pretty kind of mature compared to a great deal of pop punk and emo acts around that kind of time. They were around about the same time as Modern Baseball, and were really getting into like the swing of things as well, so they were kind of two big bands for me back then when that album dropped. And surprise, I liked their last album, Cody, which I've got on vinyl, and came out in 2016, and as I recall, it was one of my favourite albums of that year. I don't know where it would rank amongst the rest of them from that year, but I had a great deal of fun with that one. I thought it had a lot of quite touching moments as well, so I never felt like they were just kind of overly relying on any sort of like rock sheen at all. Though granted, it wasn't a huge jump from Never Hungover Again. I don't really feel like that's so much of a complaint anyway, because I mean, it was still a pretty good shtick to have, and I do think, like I say, there was some like quite touching moments. I felt like they weren't just lazily reenacting stuff they'd done before. It was an enjoyable album, so it was. And with this new album, it feels like Joyce Manor are kind of halfway committed to trying to do something different, not so much radically, but just trying to like do a new kind of twist on what they've done before. They've always felt quite segmented, I would say. It always feels like they kind of like do things in a bunch of twos or threes. Pretty much it wasn't until when Never Hungover Again that they stopped kind of relying on some sort of kind of like, I guess I would say kind of like pop punky kind of sound on it. And then when it came to Never Hungover Again, as well as Cody, it felt quite Weezery, kind of power pop influenced. So I was kind of interested to see how much of a departure from that they would go. On this record, it seems like the band are quite eager to kind of like tone down what they usually do, like a few notches, but kind of refine whatever's left over, kind of like a fancy restaurant portion of a meal, as opposed to like going somewhere else where it's just kind of like a big dollop of it. And the results of this are kind of mixed. One thing that I thought was particularly interesting was the fact that they brought on Kurt Ballou of Converge. Probably didn't even pronounce his name right there, who typically works with like heavier acts. I know that he helped out with a lot of the Code Orange albums, so having him involved to help out on this Joyce Manor record was pretty odd, but his inclusion I feel is pretty worthwhile. It's not too immediate at all, and I don't think if you were to take a guess or a stab at guessing who did it without knowing it was Kurt Ballou, you probably wouldn't follow on thinking it was. You would probably think it was the other producer that was involved in this, who has helped out with people like Weezer and AFI, but the prime production focus here is with Kurt Ballou. And I think the changes he makes are, again, they're subtle, but I think they're pretty nice, and they make this album feel like a bit of a step forward. Some of these songs feel unlike a great deal of what Joyce Manor have done before, especially the track Gone Tomorrow, which feels unlike anything that they've done before. I kind of like how a lot of the instrumentals feel like they're reverbing and floating around in the ether. It kind of feels almost kind of shoegazy, though the vocals are still pretty intact. The vocals, as always, are pretty nice. I didn't really have any sort of issue with the deliveries on here, though I have heard people complain about it. For me, though, I wasn't really all taken aback or annoyed by it at any points, but I did think that the fact that Kurt Ballou managed to like have that sort of experimentation but never kind of forget or prioritise what makes the band shine as well as they do, I thought that was pretty impressive. They never lose that sort of melodic morceau, which always makes Joyce Manor such a treat to actually listen to in the first place. But of course, the main takeaway from any Joyce Manor record is going to be the contribution from the band members themselves, specifically Barry Johnson, the lead vocalist, guitarist, and who writes a great chunk of the songs. I think pretty much all of them, as far as I'm aware, anyway. And I feel that yeah, he's just as confessional as ever is. Especially with tracks like Big Lie, where he's like really yearning to be dominated but also comforted. Isn't such just kind of like there's some kind of like different levels that it's working on there. And then there's also the title track, where, from my interpretation anyway, it's pretty unique. It kind of sounds like somebody who's in a relationship with somebody who feels like his only worth is the fact that he's in a relationship. He kind of feels like doubt his self-worth, and it does feel kind of like self-deprecating, but it just feels quite I can't really recall a song that's like that, where somebody kind of like analyzes a relationship to that extent, where like it almost depresses themselves with like how in love they are with somebody. I thought it was quite an interesting song, one that I've definitely been coming back to quite a lot from this record. But while the album, from like a production standpoint, consistently feels like there's some sort of direction or focus going on, I do think Johnston himself starts to waver a bit. Some songs can feel a bit aimless, specifically the song Silly Games, which to me was just a bit uninteresting. I didn't really get what was trying to be done with it. Granted, I think again the performances on here are pretty nice. There's a nice inclusion of some keys and percussion, which gives it sort of like a kind of cutesy feel. And like the song does talk about kind of like being kids and all that, or well, our character involved being a kid, so it kind of goes some way to go to get some cutesy thing in. So while it's kind of obvious, it's still quite a nice inclusion, but the song in general does feel a bit kind of fillery to me, at least from a lyrical standpoint. I could say the same about Up the Punk. So this one feels the most familiar and the most brash, and just all around probably the most heaviest track on here. Not that the band have ever like really like prioritised being heavy, but just something worth saying anyway. I do love how fuzzy the guitars are, and the frustration from Johnson's delivery, especially when they get these kind of like harmonic backing up to it. I found that really satisfying. And it just culminates in a snippet that is pretty familiar, but no less entertaining. $1 Million to Kill Me kind of flies you by just in general, which really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that has listened to Joyce Manor before, considering the fact that a lot of their albums kind of float around the sort of 20-minute mark. I would have really loved for Joyce Manor to kind of like push themselves a wee bit, maybe like make some sort of a bit more of a meaty track, even if it's like 5 or 6 minutes, where it's kind of like the obvious centerpiece, and they really are pushing themselves. Maybe like incorporate a narrative that just packs in that kind of like trademark confessional, self-deprecating matureness. I feel like that would have been pretty impressive, and would have felt like they were properly ushering in a new sort of era of their work. But as it stands, I don't think that $1 Million to Kill Me is a bad album. I like it quite a bit. It's definitely their weakest album for me though, mainly just because I don't think it's got quite the compactness, just in terms of their focus. Like it doesn't go on a great deal longer than usual. It's essentially just minutes that are separating it from the other albums. But I feel like with those other ones, didn't feel like there was a second wasted. Whereas I do think that at some points, it could have benefited from being even just a bit tighter, which isn't really a good thing considering that it's not that long to begin with. But there's a great deal of songs that I like here, a plethora of songs that I'm enjoying, far more than I'm like. There's far more songs that I enjoy that I don't like. I just think that some of the progression has been kind of stunted, and same can be said about some of the songwriting. I wish that some of it wasn't so aimless. But in terms of score, guys, I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this album. If you guys have listened to it, let me know what your favourite song is, your least favourite song is, a rating, where you would rank this in terms of Joyce Manor's discography in general. And thank you for watching, guys, and as always, stay safe and stay hydrated. To be loved.